Blue Dog Films presents Paid to Dream with Charles Dennis.
Hello, it's time for You Know What again, Paid to Dream, and here is a dreamer, the dreamer, my man, Drew Bell.
Hi.
Look at him.
Thanks for having me. This is so exciting.
You've never been had. Don't say that. I can't believe it. It's been I can't even it's got to be at least 15 years since I met you one day at the William Morris reception area. And
Oh
we
yeah.
started comparing notes and discovered we were both independent filmmakers on micro budgets.
I think it's 20 years ago. I think it was 2005.
Wow.
Time flies.
I'm not that old.
Those were the good old days when we got to go to the office and record from a studio booth. And it was before everyone could just do it from their house. So there was like this really amazing group of friends that we all made in that lobby at William Morris.
It was the origin of the Foo Dog family, but you're one of the very few people who have worked in all media with me. I mean, there you were at the Actors Studio, for God's sake, doing Brakeman's Reader.
Oh yeah, and we did. What was the? We went over to the mattress store.
That was
What?
Barking Mad.
Barking Mad. We got to film at that mattress store in North Hollywood. It was really a great day.
Barking Mad was. That's when you were Lawn Screech, but it didn't spell that way on you. It was very funny. But mattress store, and then we were at the Strasbourg Institute doing the police station.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a murder, but don't go blabbing it around. This Dugan fancied himself as a ladies' man. This could be a good notch in both our belts, Ledbury. You got a first name?
Merle.
Mother wanted a girl, huh? My name's Lon. My dad named me after Lon Chaney. He thought it went well with Screech. That's why I got rid of the S and the H. It's more European.
That was great. That was really fun. I'd never been in that place.
No. I went back recently and shot a film for Steve Sterla over there called Villa Hollywood that he's actually turned into a series now. He shot enough footage that he's breaking it into a 6-part series instead of trying to tell a movie. But we're gonna get into your new David O. Selznick thing. But I want to know for people who don't know you, God knows they should. I thought you were born in New Jersey. You were born in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, born in Jacksonville.
You had no choice, but why was the family there?
You know what? It was like, I don't know how we ended up in Jacksonville, but we then moved to Oklahoma for a few years, and then Austin, Texas for a few years, and then I went to high school in New Jersey. And
with all this stuff in Oklahoma and Texas is before you were 10?
Yeah, they were going to school at OSU and then University of Texas. And then I went to a year of Rutgers University, and then I moved to LA. I got to LA when I was like 19 or 20 and got an agent. And within like the first month, I booked a role on Sweet Valley High with those twins.
The Olsen twins?
No, they were the other twins.
Who are the other twins?
I have to remember their names. But the director of that episode was in the TV show The Fall Guy. He was the sidekick to Lee Majors.
Right.
And he was directing the episode. And so it was my first job. I was like 19 or 20. I had to drive all the way out to Santa Clarita. And all of a sudden I was on set and I was getting to be an actor. I'd only been in LA for like a month. And the director was this famous actor that I knew when I was like 10 years old from a TV show. So it was one of those moments where I was like, I have totally made it. And it was just one episode. It was a couple of days of work. It was really incredible, though.
But I want to rewind this a little bit because the show is called Paid to Dream. And basically, it's the fact that, we're all dreamers and that someone is paying us to do this. It's great. When did you first get the acting bug? We were
It was at
performing
a
in high
summer. I
school.
went to go stay with my aunt for a month up in Connecticut, and she put us in a theater program.
How old were you?
I was probably 10 to 12, like
Yeah.
around that age. And it was, what did we do? We did The Hobbit, and then we did something called The Dancing Spider. I went up there for a couple of summers with my brother and did different musicals or plays, and then we performed them for kids younger than us that were like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And it was really just a fun and incredible. I really looked forward to those summers. And that's how I
Whereabouts
got
in
the bug.
Connecticut was it?
Huh?
Where in Connecticut?
Oh, um, kind of near Stores. You know where Stores is? University of Connecticut is in Stores. My aunt lives in, I forget the small town that she lives in, Willimantic. Anyway, it's really beautiful up there. And I'd go up there for the summer. And that's where I got the acting bug. And so then during high school, I was in, uh, I played nicely in, what's the
Guys
name of that?
adult.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Sit
Guys
down, you're
Adult.
rocking the boat.
Yeah, I got to perform that. I was in Grease. I played Danny Zuko. Um, I did every musical. And it was really, once I auditioned for Rutgers for Mason Grove School of the Arts. I got in based off of my audition, and it was a great conservatory. But they cut the program in half every year until you're a junior. So it went from like 25 kids to 12 kids or whatever. And I was one that was cut. And so it sent me to California. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to LA. And I drove across the country. It was like 1994.
On your own?
What? Yeah, when was that earthquake? Was it 94? 93?
90, I thought 91 for some reason.
Um, yeah, I moved out, like, I think it was 93 or 94. And I was like 20 years old. I couldn't bartend. I was in LA for like a year or two before I became 21. And that's where I was able to bartend and live the life of a actor. It was really living the artist way, going on auditions, working at night, and back then it was you went in for the audition, and there was a messenger service with these blue stamps, and you could pay to have them get them to casting directors. So it was like ruthless. We could do anything. We could drop off 8 headshots to anybody at any time, and way different than today. You could crash auditions, just show up, sign in. They didn't even have a list. It was just different times, and really fun. It was like hanging out with your friends, living the artist way.
Did you have an agent?
Yeah, agents, voiceover agent, um, a theatrical agent, a commercial agent. I booked a print job once for Marlboro, and they used the back of my head. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm a model!" And they literally were like, "Hey, Drew, turn around and face the other direction." It was like an office scene, and so all day long, it was the back of my head, the back of my body, and they paid me like $8,000 or $10,000. It was like the most money I'd ever made for the easiest job, and but that was my modeling. That was my big modeling break. Was booking a.
Didn't you host something on MTV?
Oh yeah, I had a whole run. Like there was 5 years where it was all voiceover work. It was really super fun. Anything I read, I booked. It was just a really great time of life. Voice of Sony, Rated E for Everyone. The voice of um, let's see, like Mazda and Bud Light. Like really fun voiceover jobs. And then I did like 5 years on MTV. I booked the last season of Road Rules. I was the host, and that had been on 16 seasons, so it was really wild to all of a sudden be on the show. Um, and then I booked a show called Call to Greatness, where we went around breaking world records, and we did eight episodes of that. It was super fun. We traveled around the country, and they came up with all these different records to break. Um, Yeah, it's been really an incredible run. When I think back,
What were some of the records that you broke?
I kicked myself in the head 46 times in a minute. It's so goofy. And we went to TRL, and so we're on TRL talking about the show, and then they play the clip where I'm kicking myself in the head, breaking the world record for how many times you can kick yourself in the head in a minute on the Jumbotron in Times Square. It was really just one of those moments where I was like, what is happening? It was so goofy. I showed my mom, and she was like, you really should have stayed in college.
Hey, Stat.
You got it?
Tesla never fails. They don't call me Lorenzo the Magnificent for nothing.
Lorenzo Tesla. I remember when you were Larry Teitelbaum selling wind-up toys on the Santa Monica Pier.
Larry Teitelbaum sounded like an orthodontist. Tesla is more in the zeitgeist. I've registered drive a Tesla, Tesla electric, Tesla gas free, so Elon Musk has to buy me out.
And did he?
No, not yet.
But yeah, you know what? If you're lucky enough to have a goal, a dream, something that you want to do in life, I was just lucky that I really wanted to be a part of entertainment. And when I moved to California, I didn't know what that even meant. And so the easiest way in was get an agent and audition. And I really got hooked on it. I did it for probably 15 years, and I was dedicated to it. You know, I missed weddings, I missed funerals, I missed family gatherings because of a callback or a hold or a booking, because you live and breathe it, and all your friends live and breathe it. And you go to acting class, and people are booking, and it's real. And it was such a fun time of life, all my 20s into my early 30s. And, during that time, I had made a couple of films in my 20s. One was at Blockbuster, which was a huge success at like 24 years old, to make a movie on 16 millimeter and then have it distributed and actually end up in Blockbuster. It was 1999 when I made my
Was
first
that
movie.
Zombies in Silver Lake?
No, the movie was called Random Acts of Violence, and it was renamed Fastlane and distributed by the Asylum. And the Asylum is the company that's done Sharknado, like 8 of them. So it was a really great moment for us. We had gotten into a few festivals. We did a midnight screening, and it was packed. And then my friends back east could rent it in Blockbuster. So it was just the little victories in the career are what stand out. That having the time where I was hosting, or the time where it was voiceover, and even the time when I booked a handful of guest stars on different TV shows, and it was just like really fun to have all these different parts of the business. And now it's like I'd gotten into real estate. I had invested a bunch of the money into real estate because it was creative, just like being a part of entertainment, architecture, renovating, going to Home Depot, choosing toilets. It was creative. So, I missed being in entertainment. I'd taken a break once our daughter was born, and I took a break and focused on real estate. But then I was missing it. So like 8 years later, I reached out to a good friend who had been doing locations and asked him if he could get me into the locations world. And so it's been amazing. I think I started in 2018 or 2019, and I've now been a Teamster and working on location teams for giant TV shows: Dead to Me, Westworld, It's Sunny in Philly, Mythic Quest. I'm on Chuck Lorre's new show, Stewart Fails to Save the Universe. So just really fun, big projects. So for a day job, I get to be on all these different sets, back lots of Warner Brothers, Universal, really getting paid to dream, and getting paid
Yeah.
in every way. So when I'm on, this last show that I'm on, just this last year, I worked on the Ben Stiller movie, The Dink. I worked on the Bruce Willis biopic. I forget the name of it. And then Kristen Stewart's new movie, The Wrong Girls.
What is your typical day like on one of these shoots?
As locations is really the host of the show. So if there's any issues with neighbors, they ask for locations. If if any of the, locations is really in charge of finding the location for the director, producer. So you present different locations, and then finding where base camp's going to be, parking for the crew, and then are you going to need transpo from base camp to the location? It's really logistics. We're in charge of security. We're in charge of bathrooms, catering, tables, everything. So we really throw the party, and then the producers and the actors are kind of the wedding party. So we're really in charge of all the nuts and bolts of a production, really. Uh, how do you feed 170 people, 150 people, and where are they going to park? So all of that is locations.
Wow.
But then simultaneously, I've been raising money. I've been really focused on producing more films, and so about a year ago, raised money for one of my friends who was making a movie, and that comes out on Friday. It's called Hunting Season.
Yes.
It's with Mel Gibson. Really excited about it. It's a really good film, and the director of the film, Raja Collins, very talented guy. He helped produce my first movie when we were kids in 1999, the one that ended up in Blockbuster. So it's 30 years later, and I helped him raise money for this film that he was directing. And the film he helped produce, I was directing. So it's just my other friend who's helped produce it and raise money, he's one of my friends for 30 years on it. And then we're lucky enough to have AJ Buckley in the film. And he was in my first film I made, Random Acts of Violence, that Raja helped produce and I directed. And then AJ was on NCIS for like 10 years. Then he was on SEAL Team for 7 years. Really talented actor. He's had an incredible career since we made that movie, like 30 years ago. And so he's also in this movie called Hunting Season. So, getting to work with friends of 30 years, it's just full circle. It's really...
It's the best, isn't it? Neil Dixon, who roughed you up in that mattress store, he's also in the location business when he's not acting. And I remember, but he was somewhere in Malibu, and I don't know what it was. It was anyhow. George Clooney was there, and he had to stop himself saying, I'm not really a location person." But he didn't. It's just you sort of go.
It's really fun to be a part of all these different productions and see how they're run, see how well they're run, see how they're produced. The amount of money that is thrown at television shows is incredible, and it's a really fun place to work when they ask you, hey, put a light in that yard, and you bring in a light that's as big as a light for a stadium, and bring up the crane, and you get the permit, and you pay the neighbors, and money is no object. And so, it's just really fun place to be. And it's also really fun to work where it's just you and a camera or you and an iPad, and, they're just different, but it's still art. Yeah. And, I have always wanted to be a part of entertainment. It's been 30 years. I can't stop. I've done different aspects from hosting to acting to voiceover, producing, executive producing. And every time I get paid to dream, it's like there's a Japanese word, ikagi or ikaigi. It's the intersection of passion, money, helping people, purpose. And when you have that and it crisscrosses, the word is ikaigi. You have to Google it. And for me, there's moments in entertainment when I'm a part of a project. It's not when the project's finished. It's like when you're in the middle of it, and you're going to be touching people when they see it. I'm making a living at it. I'm getting paid to dream. It's my passion. It's really, I feel lucky. I feel lucky that my younger self took the risk, had the dream, and then didn't stop, and still hasn't stopped. You have to high five your younger self. You'd be like, good job,
So if you went back in time and met that younger Drew Bell, what would you say to him? He was nervous, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean, how many bad auditions, how many lines messed up, um, how many missed opportunities, how many callbacks that didn't lead to anything, how many no's before a yes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If somebody would say to you, hey, listen, you're going to book another acting job, you just have to drive to auditions equal to driving to New York and back 25 times. And you're like, I would never drive to New York and back 25 times, but I would drive to Beverly Hills every day to go to William Morris. It would take me an hour, sometimes an hour and a half to get there. I would find parking. I would sit in that lobby for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours,
Yeah.
sometimes 4 hours, literally hanging out, waiting to read maybe one piece of copy, 10 pieces of copy, and then leaving and being like, I'm going to book one of those things, and getting back in traffic, driving another hour and a half back to wherever I'm going, and doing that all year with all of us. You were doing it.
I know. I'm grateful for the friendships that I forged waiting around for hours, you, Brent, Pete Sepanek, you know, some who I became friends with, and for whatever reasons, I'm not friends with them anymore. But that's life, folks.
Oh yeah, people come in your life. It's like seasons. But we've been hanging out for quite a while, Charles.
I know, I know. You're one of my treasures. I referred to you as one of the Bobbsey twins on the Pete Sepanek thing because you two guys. I used to love having lunch with you and Pete and you're the two Aries. Your birthdays are pretty close, I think, and just it was great, just great.
And Pete's another example of, if you don't get stuck in I'm just an actor, or I only do voiceover, or I'm only a writer, and you realize that you're all of it. You can be all of it, and it's just each project is different. And so Pete's voiceover editor, like, you can't limit your creativity. You've written how many books?
Yeah,
You know,
14, 15 now, I think.
right? And it's like, how many projects have you been an actor in? And it's like, if you limited yourself and like, I'm only going to go for this one thing, you know, um, you're stifling your art and your talent and what's out there. So I think that's why everyone that we know is so versatile.
You
They,
have to be. If otherwise you're sitting there. I remember, Tony Perkins was my friend the last 7 years of his life. He was my best friend. But he would just sit there in that director's chair in a corner waiting for the phone to ring and not initiating anything. And it was very sad.
and and today, I know it's all about how many followers and how many views and how many clicks, but and I know there's a lot of noise, so there's a lot of choices for people to watch stuff, but it's also easier to continue to pursue your art at any level. And, when somebody and their comedy shines through the noise and the clutter of the internet or Instagram or, TikTok or whatever, you see those pages. And I think for young people, the opportunity to explore your creativity and then distribute it yourself is just a completely different, awesome thing for young people. Because we didn't have that. We had to shoot it and then try to figure out what we were going to do with it. How do you present it? How do you get people to see it? It's either VHS, DVD, or some film festival. Um, so it is a really interesting time where any of us can film something and then deliver it. And with AI, my goodness, you can create so much so fast.
Oh, I remember you being at my house and showing me that, and I'm going, what is this? Sepanik doesn't want to answer the phone anymore for fear that someone's going to steal his voice,
Yeah,
and put it on AI. It's really scary.
they're recording everything. It's a new time for creators. I think there's going to be film festivals. There's going to be content that's human created, and that's what you're going to want, and that's what you're going to want to pay for. And you're going to see real artists perform live music. But with AI, the music industry is shifting because you don't know if you're listening to AI or someone who's real when you're listening to Spotify right now. So the opportunity to create music's amazing, but the opportunity for artists is going to change because unless you're have a fan base and they want to see you perform live, it is having somebody record your voice and maybe using it. Those are all possibilities.
Wow. So Jeffrey Holder told me, because he was, a dancer, choreographer, painter, director, and he told me to always keep my different arts fresh and switch around because, and you and I both do that, and it's a different skill set. I did the reading of the play, my new play, the other week, and suddenly there I was on stage again, and that was the original place. That was the first place that I learned to express myself, and it was just coming back to it so many years later and knowing this is one of my favorite things. But then if I get a chance to direct something, yeah. And God bless the iPad. That's what first got me into it. And then Brent Huff saying, you don't need the iPad. Your phone is better. I said, boy, it's 4K. It's 4K. And it's just phenomenal that you can move back and forth, back and forth. Writing a book, I always enjoyed writing a book, but man, that's time consuming.
Oh yeah. It's been fun stepping into the executive producer, I guess, world, because raising money is actually extremely creative and it's fun. You meet interesting people and ultimately you're supporting art. You're still living the artist way. And it's just a different time of life. So going from wanting to be the actor or wanting to be the director or wanting to actually produce it, it's actually fun to really to fund the project and be able to provide jobs for people and make new content and getting to see the response. It's really exciting.
How about directing? You want to direct again?
There might be a day. I'm having fun doing what I'm doing now.
That's good.
There might be a day. I don't know if I have the motivation right now to direct. And there's a lot of people that really want to direct. And if I can help fund those projects, I feel like I'm a part of it and they really want to win. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to support people with the heart and the desire. And it's been really fun. It's been fun to be a part of all these different projects.
There's 6 of them I see listed. In addition,
yeah, we have a Chris Pine project that we invested in called Carousel, and it just got in the Sundance Film Festival. And I think it's going to open the festival. So we might get to all go to Sundance. The last year it's in Park City with this Chris Pine project. So yeah, really just amazing projects to get to be a part of, and all the timing. Everything is timing.
I love the title, Brian Penguin and the Staten Island Princess.
Yeah, that's an Anthony Hopkins film. It's going to be directed by Nick Cassavetes, and it's a love story. And to get to work with Anthony Hopkins is just going to be so exciting, And who doesn't like penguins?
Yeah. How was it with Mel Gibson? Did you interact with him at all?
Really nice guy, very professional. Getting to work when I was 10 or 12 years old, he was in Lethal Weapon. He made Braveheart. He was in Mad Max. He was a real celebrity to me as a kid. He was in all the movies. And getting to work with him is like a dream, really a dream come true. And having my friend direct him and have him work with him and hear him, I was like, Raja, you're directing Mel Gibson. He made Braveheart. He's like, I know, this is crazy. Because it's like you expect him not to hear you because he's, such a talented guy. He's actually making The Resurrection right now in Italy. So we were lucky to have him for our little movie. And he was really nice.
So what's next?
We've got a handful of projects. We have, I guess there's 4 other movies. There's one with Kate Beckinsale called Turnbuckle and Emil Hirsch. And then what's the other one? Oh, we have Carousel and then the Mel Gibson. That's 3. What's the other one? Oh, I can't even think of them. We have one that we shot in New York.
There's
Company
something
of
with
Thieves.
pancakes. Best pancakes.
Oh, right. Well, that's our new project. Nicolas Cage is attached, and that project is almost, I think, ready to start. I think we're going to start in January. So super excited to work with Nicolas Cage. That's another moment where I'm like, how is this even happening? It's like if you push, if you stick to it. My grandfather's first cousin Irving, he was such a sweet guy, and when I first met him, he lived out here, and his wife Lillian was so sweet, and Irving was like, his advice was, if you plant 2 trees in your yard, one in the middle and one on the edge, and every year you dig up the one on the edge and you move it to a new location in the yard and you replant it, and you do that for 30 years, which tree is going to be the strongest? And of course, it's the one you never dug up. Its roots are going to be the strongest and the deepest and touch everything in that yard. And he said, pick your city, pick your career, treat people well, and plant your roots. And so after 30 years, I'm working with friends I've known for 30 years. I've had the same phone number for 30 years. And he was right. He was right. Just commit. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, just commit and do it. Because there's nothing else in life. Nothing else matters. The younger you are, the less responsibilities you have. There's nothing else that matters. Just follow that goal, follow that dream, and commit to it. That's what all of us did. We committed.
I want to be you when I grow up.
It's nice to have, I know my 10-year-old self would high five me for all the cool shit that I've done, excuse my language, along the way. And you just have to really believe that anything is possible. You can manifest anything that you want. And, on a microscopic level, if you're small enough from that perspective, you and the chair and the table and the couch, you don't even know they exist. You're a small, tiny speck, atom size, and you don't even see Charles. You don't see the chair. You don't see the table. It's just, you don't even exist, which is proof that you are the universe, that it's all the same, and you should really understand that you can manifest anything you want. And it just might take your whole life.
This has been Drew Bell and Pay to Dream. If you like us, click like us. Subscribe to us. Do whatever you can. Spread the word. Drew, I love you, man.
Love you. Thank you so much for having me.